Hi, everyone. I'm Jeannie Ralston from Next Tribe, and I'm so glad to see all these great faces here. Thank you for coming. We're thrilled that Shannon Fossler is with us because she's the guide for our Florence Tuscany trip, and she designed this itinerary. She's our Florence gal, really our Italy gal, because she knows so much about Italy, Italian art, Italian history, and so we're going to talk about what you'll be seeing on this trip. And Shannon, can you just say hello to everyone? And Shannon is an artist in her own. She's an art professor, art historian, so that's really important to know. It is, it's
Hey,
important.
everybody, welcome. I'm so glad to see you all, or some of you, or most of you. Um, I look forward to talking to you about this trip because I love Florence and I love Italy, and I'm very passionate about it. So I want to share that with you.
And you spend a month every June
I
in
spend
Florence.
I spend probably a total of, like, if you add it up, probably maybe closer to 3 months a year in Italy.
Wow,
I leave on May 9th this year, and then yeah. So I spent a
so
lot of time
good.
there.
And
Yep.
we just and so if I'm going to share my screen, I'm going to show you some cool uh things. I'm just looking at the chat. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and just please bear with me. It's the hardest thing I do on these things is going from my screen to sharing a screen. So I'm just going to mute you if you for right now, if that's okay. So Shannon, this is you know this is our Florence and Tuscany, and last year we did it in December, but we're moving it up to November for several reasons, which we can talk about. But okay, hold on. And I just want you to get to a feel for, tell us about the fall in this area, um, Shannon.
I would love to, Jeannie. So I feel like I'm on an infomercial. Um, so I don't think there's ever a bad time to be in Italy, but the fall is really special. Number one, there are just less people there. There are less tourists there. You don't get the out of school, the crush of families, and nothing wrong with families, but you don't get that crush of people that you get if you go in the summer. The weather is really fantastic. Last year it was a little cold and a little rainy. I didn't have any problem with it. It felt like fall. It felt like the season to me, and that was in December. It will be a little less rainy and a little less cool in the fall, but it gives you a chance to, you know, really enjoy the city and be out all the time and not be hot. Um, the the skies, the light. Oh my God, I don't even know how to describe the light in the fall. It's a really beautiful diffuse light. The markets come alive, that the entirety of Italy is getting ready for the holidays. And it's a really lovely time to be there because of that combination of things. And you don't have really you don't have the crush of people
Yeah,
that
and
you would
that's
have going in the
and I
summer.
think that's what I remember when we first talked about doing Florence, and you and I both decided no Florence in, spring,
Right,
summer, or because
right.
we know it gets so crowded. So we wanted to find a time that was really um easy with the weather, not too cold or anything, not too hot, just right. And also to avoid where you could get a great sense of the city, but avoid
Mhm.
the crush. So that's one of the main things that we were looking at when we picked this later in the year. So hold on,
Look,
here
it's me.
it's you. Artist, historian, teacher, and Italophile, if I'm saying that correctly. So,
Sure.
um, then So we're staying at the Kalimala, if I'm saying it right.
Yep.
A- And I think everybody loved that location at
Mhm.
last year's trip. It's pretty central?
Oh, I mean, the location is unbeatable, really unbeatable. Christine can attest to this unbeatable location. The building that you're looking at the facade of on the right-hand side is actually, they have two locations. They're right across from each other. They're literally right across the street from each other. But if you notice, the facade of this building has what is called sgraffito on it, which is a technique where they plaster the wall really dark and then they scratch back through to
Ooh.
to bring out that lighter colored image. And this is something that they did in medieval times, and all the way through the Renaissance. So the building itself is just spectacular, but then the rooms are modernized inside. And I thought it was a lovely, comfortable hotel, clean, like a really nice space. They had great breakfast every morning, um, and the bar, and they had a bar
And and a good bar.
and a bar with a view. Yeah.
So, I think one of the the first things you do is take people on a nice what you know about. And I think that's one thing that everyone on this trip benefits from is that you know the city so well, you can take people to the hidden places or the less known places.
Mhm. Yeah. We do a little orientation tour, even though you really don't need it because you're just going to be following me around. So you don't really, which is also, I mean, I think that's really awesome. I love not having to worry about where I am or where I'm going. So having somebody that knows the streets so well and knows how to get from point A to point B. And also, if I get lost, you will have no idea. You just won't know. But really, really getting to know Florence outside of the main tourist attractions, and kind of getting to know the local crafts shops and the local artisans and galleries, and um, also seeing art. But you know, aside from the heavy hitters, seeing some more art that maybe not everybody gets to see or not everybody goes to. A lot of people go to Florence for a day or two, and they try to shove in every single thing in that day or two, and it makes for an unpleasant experience. So you have a little more time to wander, and a little more time to see what you want to see.
And also the orientation because there will be time. I know that they'll spend a lot of time with you, but there will be time when they'll be out
Yep,
on their own. So
yep, yep.
it we do like for you to know where you are. So one of the
Yeah.
first
So this
things,
cooking class, oh my gosh, you start by going to the market in the morning, the farmer's market in the morning, and you get a guide that walks us through the farmer's market and tells us, about the products that are specific to the Tuscany region. Each region in Italy has its own food preferences and food history. And we buy most of the things that we will need for the production of our meal for that day. And then we are driven up into the hillside just outside of Florence to a Tuscan farmhouse that is really beautiful view, really beautiful spot. In the summer, we would pick the tomatoes and the basil from the garden, but in the fall, probably won't be doing that, but everything will be fresh. The Italians don't do preserved things, so everything will be fresh. We're basically going to cook and eat all day long. So if that sounds like something you would enjoy, all day long. Like, and it's taught by an Italian grandmother who doesn't speak a word of English, but her hands and her dancing do the work for her. She is fabulous. I have been doing this cooking class before Next Tribe. I just do it every year because I love it. I don't cook, by the way. Let me be clear. I don't cook, but I love this class. It's so much fun. It just was it's a lot of fun, and you're not going to have a great time. So, and there's wine all day long, just wine, just drinking the wine.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we get to
Oh,
see
look, David.
David. Because you got to
So
see
yeah,
David.
I was before I planned the trip, I did a uh little polling with my friends and said, you know, if I was to plan a trip to Florence and do kind of the hidden kind of insider Florence, do you think I could get away with not seeing David? And they were all like, no. So we will see David, and I will tell you a lot more about him than you probably ever wanted to know. And it's pretty. He doesn't disappoint. It's not. You're not going to be like, you call that a David? That's not how you're going to leave the place. So we will see David, and there's a couple of other museums in the area that we will try to snag in there if we can, that are kind of, you know, hidden gems in the area. But Michelangelo's masterpiece is not to be missed, even if you've seen him before. He is a wow moment for sure. Yeah.
Good.
Do you like wine? Yes, that's good. This is a really special trip also, that I discovered many years ago. It's a very small group, small production winery that we go to out in the Tuscan hillside, and a family-run winery. Uh, we're usually the only people there, and they talk about the vineyards, the history of the vineyards, the history of the building, the history of the family. That's a picture of all of us in their wine cellar with their barrels. They had this really cute little car, this little pink Fiat that everyone liked to take photos of. This was just, and you get, and they cook you food, and you taste a bunch of wine, and you drink a lot of wine, and then you drink some more wine, and then eventually you get driven back to your hotel after a lot of wine. I think that's what I have to say about that. But it's unique. It's not one of the big, gigantic, high production wineries, which are great. I've been to those also, but that feel is very different than this. This is small. This is intimate. They are a bioorganic winery, and it's just really, I think it's really special.
I just wanted to make a point about the food that, you know, you go
Oh
to
yeah.
great restaurants
Oh
and
yeah. This is the
and
restaurant on the left in Siena. That
oh,
is, it's parts of this building date to the 1100s.
wow.
So you're kind of looking at this kind of arched stone room that is almost like a cavern, and then the building, the restaurant itself just keeps going further and further down, and you go further and further back in history. And the food was amazing. And we do some street food, a little bit of street food, which is also amazing. So yeah, and I'm trying to like, yeah, where was that? Hmm.
The
Oh,
proper
that's the first meal. Yeah, that's our first meal at Zaza.
mm,
Yeah, that was awesome. Look how happy everybody is.
everybody's happy.
Great group of people.
And I just wanted to say that you know all the best gelato in
I do. I do. I would, would I let you go to a non-good gelato place? No. Um, and I hope you're not gonna, I hope you'll learn like gelato in the winter, because you should never say those words. Um, Gelato all the time, every day, twice a day. So we will do a little tour of gelato. Some people say that Vivoli, which is a gelato shop in Florence, is the first gelato shop in Italy. I can't attest to that, but I will show you where all the best gelatos are, and hope that you will avail yourself of the twice a day gelato. Yes. You'll be walking enough, don't worry.
yeah. So
Fresco.
so one of the first there's several classes or well, a couple of classes,
Workshops. Yeah.
workshops. So this one the fresco, can you talk about that?
I would love to talk about this. So, fresco is a very ancient technique. It dates back to Mesopotamia, and ancient Egypt. And a lot of the work that you see in Italy throughout the Renaissance, the 14th and 15th century, is fresco. It is a process by which pigment, which is powdered color, is placed into damp lime plaster so that the paint process binds itself to the wall through a chemical process, through the chemical process of the lime and the pigment. Anyway, and what's great about this class is it's a friend of mine that teaches it. I love him. I think he's phenomenal. It's a small group. No experience required, no artistic experience. No, you could say, I'm not creative. You don't need, there are no prerequisites for this class. You can paint whatever you want to paint. You can draw whatever you want to draw. It's a fun uh, endeavor that not very many people get to do. A very small percentage. This is a 1% like of the population has ever, less than 1% has ever made a fresco. Um, the great thing that I think about it is it lets you explore media that is not like any other painted media. It's not like watercolor or oil or anything. But then also when you're looking at frescoes as you're traveling around and you see them in various places throughout the rest of your life, you will understand the complexity of that work in a different way. Um, that's to me, that's it enriches your experience as you go out and look at it. When you go to the Sistine Chapel ceiling and you look up and you're like, damn, he did that on that. Like there's just an added layer of um, respect or understanding that you will have. But you also get to take this thing home and it's pretty cool.
That's great. Okay. I believe this year you're just going to Siena.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Siena is Florence's kind of rival town. It is a medieval town that excelled during the Renaissance. It is very different than Florence. Florence is relatively flat. Siena, there's not a flat spot in Siena. Um, the Sienese were competitive with the Florentines in almost every way possible. And so they tried to make things that were bigger and things that were better. And it's a very different experience. It's wonderful. It's just as wonderful a city. There's a lot to see in Siena. We try to get it all in. We try to get as much as we can in a day. I try to hit the highlights, and it's never enough. But Siena is really lovely, and it's a like a chartered vehicle ride from Florence. It's very easy to get to from Florence.
Yeah. Um, oh, the gilding class.
Gilding. Um, this is another workshop. And in this workshop, you're going to learn to gild, which is apply gold leaf to objects. Again, another very ancient technique. And it is taught by an Italian woman that speaks no English. Um, and she's fabulous. And she does gilding classes and restoration classes. She's the primary gilding restorer in Florence right now. And she's been doing it for many, many years. And this is her workshop that we're sitting in. And she's given us two little objects and she goes through the process and the history. And then you gild your little objects and you take them home. And it's
And,
really, it's another really great thing to understand. It's not like y'all are going to go home and make frescoes and gild. I don't think you're going, I don't know, right? You might dig a pit in your backyard and start slaking the lime for the frescoes. I don't know. But it's really cool to have these hands-on kind of mementos of your trip and to understand these ancient processes.
and you
It's
said
fun.
she doesn't speak English, but does she have somebody who does the translation?
So what I did last year, and this is what I will probably do again this year, is because there was a miscommunication. I when we got there, we tried to use Google Translate, and it was working. But I reached out to Hector, who's the fresco guy, and a friend of mine, and he rushed over and translated for us.
Ah,
And I think, as far as I understood, the ladies loved Hector, so they were happy to see him again. Um, and he did a great job because he learned to gild from her. So they're very good friends. So that was super helpful. I'll probably see if he can do that again for us this year.
that would be great. Yeah. And I just have to talk a little bit. Shannon's not going to say this about her, but herself, but she is a great shopper. I went shopping with her in Umbria and in Bologna, and I just was wowed. She took this to the best spot. So I know that she did a lot of that or some of that with this past group. And from what I understand, she's great, has great taste in jewelry, and she found this ring, this gold ring, and her group ended up giving it to her as a present, as a thank you present. And you can see there on the right that she's,
And also here,
oh, here, yeah.
that was the sweetest thing ever. That was so unexpected and wonderful, and I'm super grateful. I wear it every day. It scares my students, which I love. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of vintage markets, there's a lot of antique markets, there's a lot of artisan craft markets. There was one right around the hotel that had some great little artisans set up. And then there's a lot of boutique stores. I mean, Italy is, it's where all the leather is made. It's where um, all the fashion houses are located. So if you want to shop, you can. It's also tax free, so that's also an advantage. Or you can just walk around and look at the beautiful things and the beautiful history. And there's also on the other side of the river, there's a lot of antique furniture stores, if that's your thing, and antique interior design stores. And when I say antique, we're talking about European antique, like things from the year 1000, right? Like not American antique. So I just love looking at that stuff. I enjoy all kinds of artisans and all kinds of craft people, and I love to look in their windows and wander in their stores off the street randomly, and they look at me like, "Why are you in here?" I love that. So yeah, I want to share that
And
with you.
you also like have, I remember you have the leather guy or something. You have your
Oh, I
own.
have the leather guy. Yes, I
Yeah.
do. I have a leather guy. He's fantastic. Yeah. He was just somebody, I was just on Instagram yesterday, and an influencer, I don't even know how this came up in my feed, but an influencer had posted from his shop. And she was a cute little blonde American 20 something. And she was like, I'm going to visit my favorite leather guy, Massimo. And then she goes into Massimo, and then there's all these photos of her and Massimo. And then she leaves with this jacket that I've never seen before. And I go in there 3 times a year. So I immediately reached out to him. And I'm like, Massimo, I need this jacket. He's like, that was the only one. I'm like, no. He's wonderful. He's just a really wonderful person, and he has great products at great prices. But we also go to the leather school, and the leather school is really fantastic too, because you get to see them working on the leather and making leather things. And yeah, it's really great. Yeah.
That's fabulous. And so I'm just,
Luca,
yeah, that
that's
I,
Luca. He was the guide on our cooking class that took us through the market, and we
yeah.
ran into him in San Gimignano
Uh,
very randomly, and he wanted to take a picture with all of us, which was
I,
fabulous.
I just think that's so cute. So I just have a few pictures too, just to give, just to imagine, kind of see fall and the landscape and just a bigger overview of some of what you'll see. So you can kind of imagine yourself in here in the countryside, the colors of this time of year, and then just the whole of Florence being so stunning, architecturally, culturally, artistically, all of that. So um, I just wanted to give in with that. So anyway, thank you, Shannon, for doing that and being so precise and informative. I want to say hi to Christine Foley. I asked her to come, and also another friend, Emily Shemp.
Christine and Emily, hi.
They were on last year's trip, and so I think it's important or probably helpful for you to hear from two people who've been on the trip, like what to expect. So Christine, you want to start? But just say
Happy
what.
to start. It was such a wonderful trip. Shannon was excellent and so much fun to follow around. And I did not plan on shopping, but I have a beautiful purse from her leather guy, and I have the most amazing shoes from her shoe lady. I saw an ad for like Prada ones that looked so similar to him for like, a million times more the money. And so that was fun. And I mean, the picture showed a really a good representation of the trip. And of course, the food was great. There was enough downtime too to be able to do whatever you wanted, whether it was, go for a run or a workout. You could get to maybe a museum that we didn't see. You could do more shopping. We had a couple free nights, which were great. Some of us climbed this up to the top of the hills and we listened to monks chanting in ancient cathedral. I mean, there's just so much to offer. And the beautiful thing about Florence and the hotel, you were right, it was a great hotel and a great location. And the everything was walkable quickly. You know, you could say, oh, I want to go back and look at that again. And it was just minutes away usually. So, I mean, that's Florence because it's pretty compact, but uh,
And that
any
does bring up a point, and I'm glad you brought it up, is that I do like to design trips where there is free time that because I always say to people, you're grown women. I'm not going to make you go lockstep the whole week. We know that you have things that you might want to see that's different from the rest of the group. So you have some more freedom there to do what you need. And you're right. I do remember people went to some museums that weren't on the.
climb the steps up to the Duomo. I did take a pass on that this time, but Emily did it.
Yeah, and I'm always happy to in the free time if you say I really want to go to the Uffizi. If you just let me know and you want to go to the Uffizi with an art historian, keeping in mind that you're going to the Uffizi with an art historian, and that entails like maybe not an hour through the Uffizi. I'm always I love that. I love that stuff. If you want more of this or more of that, if you let me know in our free time, I will try to get it done. Absolutely. Y'all
Yeah,
don't.
that's right. Oh,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was
No, I
gonna
was going
say,
to say
go,
we
go.
we don't have the Uffizi officially in it because you uh I don't, and you said that was it's just too much to just build in because
It's
people,
a
like you
it's a
said.
lot. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Emily and I went one afternoon, but we had a target. You know, we
Mm,
wanted to see these things on this
yes.
floor, and so then it was doable.
Yeah, absolutely. Christine, Emily, do you have your frescoes handy?
Oh, I didn't think
I
about that.
do. I do. Let me get it.
Well, Emily gets it. So I'm not one that usually goes in for like crafty type stuff. And I enjoyed both of those things so tremendously. It was so fun and so neat. And where we did the frescoes, I don't think you said this, Shannon. It was this really fascinating man's. We were in his flat. So just seeing his flat and his art around I mean, that was even so much fun.
That's really cool. So, and here we hear from Emily. Okay, Emily, let's see what this is. Emily, tell.
Yeah.
Hi.
Well, I mean, Christine covered a lot of the territory, but I just really enjoyed being there with Shannon. I mean, she's a true insider, having taken so many trips to Florence with her groups from school. She knows everything inside and out. It was, I really, and having visited Florence once previously, sort of on that, do or die pace, trying to do everything in 2 days. And it was 40 years ago, when I was much younger. I really enjoyed being there for a week. Initially, I was kind of thinking, wow, it might be too long, but it wasn't. I mean, there was just so many options, as we said, for things you could do or didn't have to do. Shannon made it really easy, and the group was great, and everybody kind of selected some of those options and made it work for them. And as Christine said, the food, um, the wine, the gelato, the prosciutto, everything was really great. And I mean, I really enjoyed the cooking class as well as the trip to the vineyard in Tuscany. Those were two really special days, as well as Siena and San Girolamo. But yeah, all in all, I mean, I can't say enough for if you've been wanting to go there, this is the way to do it. And if you've already been there, I would say you need to go back and do this because you know, it was a really, really fun, relaxing, but busy trip. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Great. So, thank you. Did you show us your,
I think I did.
let me see that.
Mine was not one of the better ones.
So,
I love it. It's perfect.
But I do keep it in my kitchen on my backsplash, and it's a constant reminder. So I'm very happy to have it.
that's great.
Mine's in my office on a shelf in my home office. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Well, thank you, Christine and Emily, for coming and kind of giving a perspective on last year's trip and what people can expect. So now I want to ask people if anybody here, if they have any questions. You can ask them to me or Shannon. I also want to, and there's also Marcy, can you say hello? Our travel manager, Marcy Mitchell, is here. If you book, or some of you have already booked, you've dealt with Marcy.
Hi, everyone.
So you can now put a face to her name. Any questions from you from any of you? No? Jerry, you've signed up already, and Mary, you too, right?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Hi, everyone. I'm new to Next Tribe. I've been stalking the group for a while. I'm trying to kind of find the right opportunity to get on a trip. Had a few health issues for a couple years, up and down, no big deal, but this is my year to travel. So I actually just did coffee yesterday with a local Next Tribe group in San Antonio, Texas,
Yes.
which is where I am in San Antonio. So it's really great to meet everyone and get more familiar with this organization. I am signed up for the trip. I'm very excited. As it turns out, I'm going to be going to Rome before this trip starts with a friend. And so we're going to go to Rome the prior week and be there. And then we're going to take the train to Florence, probably the Friday before our trip starts. And she, my friend, has been to Rome and Florence before, but she wants to come to Florence for a few days and she can't stay for this trip. So I guess my question is, Shannon, obviously you and others on the call have an incredible wealth of experience in Italy and in Florence in particular. What came to mind for me is I will be there probably for a good 3 full days before our itinerary starts. So one thing that I'm going to do is try to get into the hotel where we're going to be so that I can stay there in advance and not have to move. And then the second thing is, would it be possible, and I'm not asking you to plan my itinerary in advance of this one, but I would like to make sure that I think about options that are not on your itinerary, Shannon, and suggestions that you might have, whether it be for free time during the trip with Next Tribe or in the days before or maybe after. But would it be possible to get some insights about that? So I'm definitely not going to be signing up for the same workshops, but maybe the restaurants, I would avoid them so that I could try other great places or other sites that you would recommend because I've never been to Italy. That's a long question, but you get the point. I promise I won't do that much talking
Yeah.
on the trip.
No, I absolutely do. And I would suggest, do you go by Mary? I would suggest that maybe you shoot me an email or something and I can talk to you about this. I have a lot of suggestions. There were some things that the women did when they got there ahead of time, like climbing the Duomo that they really enjoyed. And there's a couple of different things that we don't do as a group, but that the real, like, if you've never been to Italy, you want to do that, right? You want to do these like check the box kind of things. So
That would be
I am
so.
happy to discuss and give you a list and tell you where we're going to go to eat so that you don't double dip, even though you really can't go wrong, really. But I'm happy to have that conversation for sure.
I just put your
Thank you.
email in there. Is that okay?
Perfect. That's
Yeah.
great. Thank you. Is it okay? I just did this. Is it
I
okay?
did it. Yeah. I was going to take you back out.
Yeah, just shoot me an email, Mary, and I'm happy to, we can set up a Zoom or I can email you, whatever you prefer.
Thank you. And I may want to double dip on all the gelato places.
Yes, absolutely. Also, have you already booked your travel to Rome?
I have.
Okay, good.
I booked the flight, and we have an insider in Rome who
Okay.
actually lives there and started a nonprofit there.
Okay.
And so Donna is fortunately going to be able to give us some inside assistance with where to go. But I, of course, would welcome your advice too.
I was only going to say, if you haven't booked everything, do it as soon as possible because it is a Jubilee year and Rome is going to be insane.
Yes, thank you. And we have not booked a hotel yet. Our contact there has made a couple recommendations, so I will take that to heart and get that done.
And that goes for anybody else who would like to travel to Rome before or after. It's going to be insane in a way that few people have ever experienced in Rome. And if something happens to the Pope between now and then, it'll be even worse.
Oh my gosh.
So
right.
just plan early if you can, and expect the prices to just be maybe a little bit more than on a normal year. But on the bright side, you walk through a holy door and all your sins are forgiven. So there's that. Yeah. So, you know.
And Mary, if you or anyone else does want to, I can't remember what you said. Are you going to be in Florence early or you'll be in Rome early?
I'll be in Rome early the prior week. And we're thinking about, like, we go on a Sunday, we'll have that full week in Rome. We're thinking about taking the train to Florence maybe on Friday, unless someone says Friday would not be a good idea to take the train to Florence. But we haven't decided exactly what day we'll go to Florence.
I know I've emailed you and I can't remember the details, but anyone who is interested in arriving in Florence maybe a night early to adjust to the time or whatever, you can email me travel@nexttribe.com and I'll walk you through that, how that would work.
Great.
And I just wanted to also say, I just put another link into the in the chat. It's to a trip that Shannon will be doing a few days before this, will finish a few days before this Tuscany trip starts. We do a regular creativity type retreat in a villa in Umbria. And so if you were to want to have a real, like a complete in Italy, a big immersion, you could sign up for both. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I'm going to be between the two trips, I'm going to go to Venice. And because I love Venice.
And because we're
yeah,
looking at doing a Venice trip next year. So
yeah. Yeah. So also it's just one of the most amazing places on the planet. So I figured if I had some time, might as well go to Venice. So or I would be there early, Mary, and I could actually show you around a little bit, but I'll be in Venice.
It's very kind. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm happy to give you any information I can.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, Mary, also, and any other solo travelers, you know, one of the nice things that we've seen traveling with groups of women is we all become best friends right away. So any trepidation you have about that, just erase them. You're going to have, I don't know how many people are on the trip, Jeannie, 12 or something?
Yeah, we have about 12.
So you'll have 12 new best friends, like by the end of the first night.
Yeah, and I mean, proof of that is that I met a woman last year on the Umbria Spring Creativity Retreats, and I went to spend December and January with her in her house in Costa Rica. And it was amazing. And then I just found out that that Christine and Emily will remember Janet and Lori just booked the fall creativity retreat and sent me a private message saying, we're going to see you in the fall. It's a really great group of people and friends and soul sisters. Yeah.
But I gotta say,
the other thing that we'll do before the trip, a few months before the trip, is we'll make a WhatsApp group for everyone. So you can start communicating before the trip to coordinate travel plans, or if you're arriving early, or just to get to know each other a little bit.
I'm beyond excited about this trip. I've actually been planning on going to Italy. I was supposed to go for my 50th birthday, but my daughter got pregnant, so I decided to stay home and be there for my granddaughter's birth. So I was going to go the next year. Marriage was tanking, not a good time to go. So I turned 60 this year, and by God, I'm going.
Yay!
For 10
Yay.
years, I've been trying to get there. And I'm so excited. I'm going to fly into Rome. I'm going to take the bullet train out to Florence. And then I'm planning on, after our week there, going and finishing out the rest of the week through Friday in Rome on my own. So I will be asking for hotel reservation or hotel recommendations for Rome, because I do have my flights already, but I'm still trying to find a hotel for Rome, and would appreciate any advice in that department, because I want to get it booked soon.
Smart. Very, very smart. Anybody else? Any other questions here? Okay, so I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, as I promised, is I'm gonna draw a name for a $400 discount on the trip. Hold on. So who wouldn't want that? Plus, of course, as you know, I am, if you're a Next Tribe member, you already get $100 off as a member. So anyway, so here's everybody's name. Here's Mary. Here, oops, here's Jerry. And God, it's fun. I can't. Here's Kathleen. Here's Vicky. Here's Joe. Here's Sandy. Here's Joe Thomas. I have two Joes, Joe Thomas and Sandy. Hold on, I dropped two. So anybody else? Did I miss anybody? Okay. So here we go. Doodly doo, doodly doo. Drum roll, please. Do 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 do. Hold on. Joe Martin. Where's Joe Martin?
Doodly doo, doodly doo.
Doodly doo, doodly doo.
Joe Martin.
Can you unmute? Oh, you can't. Oh, there.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
If you sign up in the next week, you get $400 off, and Marcy will just deduct it. You'll sign up regular, put your deposit down, and then she'll deduct it from your balance owed. The
Okay.
400.
Well, thank you.
Well, good. I'm so glad. I love it. And also, just so you know, everyone knows that we do, just to make it all more accessible, a trip like this, is we do break everything down to monthly payments, no interest or anything like that. So you'll just be paying a little bit a month. So I think that helps a lot. And I like to remind people, it's a layaway for your soul, baby. So if there's nothing else, then we'll end it, and we recorded this, so we'll send everybody a recording, and you can watch it again or send it to your friends. But I hope that you'll join Shannon, and you won't regret it. She's so much fun and so knowledgeable. Just a great combination of everything that we love at Next Tribe, is just, making sure that people have fun, but that they get a lot of the culture too. That's important. Are there still openings for the trip? Yes, there are still openings for the trip. So as of now.
Also, I will tell you that these women shut it down at night. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna go upstairs and go to bed. And they're like, anyone want to go for another cocktail or anyone? Like, I'm like, oh my God, wow, where does that come from? So, and it was a great group of people that, yeah.
But I get, and two, I mean, if you're not a drinker, I don't want.
Yeah, no, you don't have to.
You don't have to be, but if you do like to indulge on your vacation, yes, you're in the right place. So
Good to see you, Christine and Emily. Thank you for coming.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you
good
so
to
much for
see
coming.
you. So happy
All
to
of
be
you
here.
for taking the time, and I hope to see you at some point down the road on trips. And Next Tribe is so happy to have people like you interested and traveling with us.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.